So apologies for absence have been received from Councillors Affleck, Gwen, Telbrook. Are there any other apologies? Thank you. I greet with the warmest Islamic greetings of peace. May the peace and blessings of God, Allah, be upon you. Assalamu alaikum and good evening, everyone. I would like to extend a warm welcome to Oliver Mirtharabi and Alexander Gilbert from the Youth Council. Thank you for joining us. It's a real pleasure to have you with us today. Since our last council meeting, I've attended a variety of engagements across Tameside. These have included Victoria's Academies, Wellbeing Ambassadors Celebration and Presentation Evenings, and Clarendon Sixth Form College Awards Evenings. I have also attended a variety of arts awards presentation in our local primary schools, where I have enjoyed seeing the fantastic artwork children have created. One of the most touching moments I've experienced as the mayor when I was at First G-Cross Brownies and they asked me for my autograph. Their joy and excitement reminded me that true heart of our community lies in its young people. That simple request made me feel so special, and it showed me how much hope and inspiration they carry for the future. I will treasure that memory always. I was also privileged to attend several Pink Chai events for Breast Cancer Awareness Month in October. These important events help us to raise money for charities whilst also promoting early detection. In addition, I have attended Diwali celebration, Ambition Halloween party, and another citizenship. Another highlight of this period has been holding two Merrill fundraising events, a craft fair in Mosley and an afternoon tea, both of which were well attended. Thank you so much for everyone who was able to join me and help raise money for my three charities. It was a real honor last month for the deputy mayor and I attended remembrance services and parades across the borough, where we paid our respects and laid wreaths on behalf of Tameside. It was heartwarming to see so many people coming together in our community to mark this very special event. As we head closer for Christmas, I have been delighted to attend a number of Christmas light switch on events, along with the Winter Lantern Parade in Stalybridge. What a wonderful time of the year. It has been truly magical to see joy and happiness of so many of our children and families. Finally, may I take this opportunity to wish you all a very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Thank you.
Members and officers, please stand.
I'll now move to the Council Agenda Item 2. I'd just like to read a statement first. We did say at the last meeting we would relook at how we seat everybody here to try and bring people nearer together. We also had a new sound speaker system which appeared to work well. What I will ask you to do though is you can please refrain from talking amongst yourselves, which can be a distraction for people that are on their feet. Plus, the mics could also pick up part of your conversation, which you might not want the general public to hear. So please be mindful of that. Thank you. But I also ask when you do speak and be called to speak that you do stand up and address the meeting, please, where you're able to. Anyway, I would like to remind everybody at this meeting that it will be as successful as the positive contribution of its members. Meetings are for the benefit for all, and no one person has a right to dominate or disrupt. People should be addressed courteously and respectfully and should feel comfortable enough to make their contributions. People should be addressed, I've just done that bit. Whilst as the chair, I am ultimately responsible for managing meetings. It is everybody's responsibility to make the meeting as smooth as possible for the good of all. My role is to ensure that the business is completed and I manage contributions. Keep contributors from repeating themselves, focus on the business in hand, and ensure a few individuals do not monopolise the time or the disruptive behaviour. This will ensure that equality, courtesy and respect are maintained. Everybody should be aware of other people's rights to be treated with courtesy and respect. Nobody should be bullied or insulted or be verbally attacked by another member. Should one member disagree with another, then there is an appropriate and courteous way to disagree. Those wishing to speak should signal their intention to the chair and wait to be invited to speak. Before speaking, any member should construct the points to be made and stick to them, speaking for as short a time as possible without repetition, whilst using clear, acceptable, non-defamatory language. There is a maximum time period to raise a question or make a point, but I am authorised under the Constitution to stop the debate if it veers off the topic or seeks to be defamatory or insulting or raise matters that are not the purview of this council. That includes raising issues about criminal matters, safeguarding of individuals, or complaint or allegations about other members. They are statutory processes to manage such matters for the protection of all. And to remind you, this is not Parliament. There is no parliamentary privilege or protection to say what you like without impunity. I look forward to a very productive meeting. I'll now move on to the minutes and ask Councillor Wills to move them.
Requesting that we move the council minutes from October the 7th. Thank you.
Thank you. And those seconded? I'll second it. Thank you. Everybody happy that those are correct record and for me to sign? Thank you. Agenda item 3, declarations of interest. Councillor McLaren.
Yeah, just to, I'm a board member at Jigsaw and a board member at Ashton Pioneer Homes.
Thank you. Agenda item 4 then is the council's big conversation. We have received a question from Stephen Sherratt, a very detailed, important question with a lot of technical details in it. I'm not going to read it all out. A copy of this will be in the next set of minutes. I will paraphrase it. Therefore, will the council explain why natural carbon capturing processes, which are widely recognised by DEFRA, the Climate Change Committee and the international best practice, appear to have been omitted from Tameside's own data sets? Has the council made any attempt to quantify the positive contribution of working farmland to the borough's net carbon position? If not, why not? Councillor Boyle, please respond.
Is the mic okay? Yeah. First of all, I'd like to thank Mr. Sherratt for his question. I am interested to know how he does his own carbon emission monitoring on his agricultural land and how he collects his own data. I think that'd be good shared information if he could catch me up on that. So basically, Tameside district-wide greenhouse gas emissions, we do reference them in our Home Spaces Places consultation, and they're available in the GM Combined Authority 5-year environmental plan. Both are taken from the government statistical releases relating to local authority and regional greenhouse gas emissions, and this is prepared by the Department for Energy Security and Net Zero. They're accredited national statistics published by the government, and it's not something that Tameside Council has control over. These national and district level emission data sets, they're publicly available and they're published online by the UK government, along with the methodology behind the data set. And by using this data, we're aligning with the most robust data available at this time. Any suggestion that it's inaccurate, we strongly dispute. Correspondingly, it is not a council framework, and we can't commit to reviewing this. It is a national framework. In relation to Godley Green, the accompanying environmental statement with the planning application gives the appraisal and associated environmental impacts of the proposal. The environmental statement and other application documents set out addressed through the combination of scheme design, additional mitigations, management and on-site habitats. It will be taken into account to the assessment and determination of the application. Tameside Council recognises the value of the natural environment to Tameside and the important role this can play in absorbing greenhouse gas emissions and also increasing resilience to the impacts of climate change. We will be producing a new climate and environment strategy for Tameside over the coming months, which will include consideration of the natural environment and its importance. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. I'll now move on to agenda item 5, which is the executive member updates. Before I do, we have previously agreed that the opposition sportsmen for each portfolio would be called first, provided they have submitted their question in writing 3 clear days before the meeting. There are no questions from opposition sportsperson. Therefore, other questions submitted in writing will be asked first, followed by questions raised without notice. Council have previously agreed that there would be a maximum of 10 minutes per portfolio, 3 minutes for the exec member update and 7 minutes for questions. To allow for all members to have the opportunity to contribute to discussions, each member will be allowed to ask one question of each portfolio if time allows. A member can ask an additional question when all other members who wish to speak have done so, providing we have time. I will start by asking the executive leader to do a general update before she does a portfolio speech. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. Firstly, I wanted to take the opportunity to extend a warm welcome to our new permanent in-post Chief Exec, Emma Alexander. I believe this is your first constituted meeting, although you've joined us for previous meetings as an introduction. This is your first official meeting, so welcome. And secondly, I'd like to welcome Councillor Joyce Bowman back from her extended period away from the council following recovery. I know Councillor McLaren is going to extend a personal welcome himself as part of his update, but I couldn't ignore the fact that you're in the room, Joyce, because you bring such joy. I am delighted to be able to share some of the significant progress that has been made over recent months. As leader, I recognise the need to have the best teams around me and our cabinet to ensure that collectively we can deliver on our commitments for the people and places of Tameside. I am pleased to be able to announce we are now in our final stages of recruitment to our permanent senior leadership team within the council, with 2 new appointments seeking ratification at this evening's meeting. For our Strategic Director of Finance, Zoe Evans, and Strategic Director of Corporate Services, which is a position that we've not held before, and the appointment for that is Sarah Bullock. I'd also like to thank Councillor Dickinson and Councillor Colburn for participating in those decision-making processes. It's also a pleasure to formally welcome Joe Kelly, who has been with us for a few weeks now as Assistant Director of Adults, and Emmeline Wright will be joining us as our new Assistant Director of Education and Inclusion at the end of January. This means that all gaps will be filled and we'll have a full permanent leadership team. A year ago, I set an ambition for this council, a commitment to deliver for Tameside and really drive progress on our priorities. As part of our ongoing improvement journey, we are now making clear progress on our transformation programmes. The team is now fully resourced, providing programme management, capacity and capability across all transformation activities, translating ambition into action. Some of that progress is evident in Ashton Town Hall, with work now underway to bring this much-loved building back into use. At the heart of Ashton Town Centre, as it used to be. Essential repairs to the facade and the parapet have been completed. A team has been appointed to develop the designs, planning and listed building approvals, delivering a programme of phased restoration of this fantastic building. My vision for Ashton Town Hall is a restored building, retaining its heritage, delivering modern functionality as a hub for civic, cultural and commercial activity. And that vision is now becoming a reality. But it is not just the town hall. Ashton Market Square transformations are progressing at pace. It's an absolute pleasure for me to be able to see the daily progress from my office window. Florentine paving is being laid, foundations are underway for the steps and rain garden, and planting is to follow. Construction of the events canopy is now well underway, and the colourful market kiosks have started. I think they may have all just about arrived this week. The vast majority of the work is due to be completed by spring next year, designed to reflect the town's traditional market qualities, whilst providing flexible space for modern day trading, outdoor events and activities, transforming the space for generations to come. Across our other transformation activities, we are delivering on our commitment to provide new homes for Tameside residents, including 20% more social and affordable housing, driving down homelessness and inequalities. A comprehensive housing needs assessment has been undertaken, which will now inform a new bold housing strategy to be published next year to make housing more affordable for local people. We are already making good progress. We have unlocked council-owned land to build up to 485 new social and affordable homes for Tameside families. 60% of those will be absolutely earmarked as a bare minimum for social housing. First-time buyers and older residents across 4 initial sites in the borough, with potentially more in the pipeline. And we've also brought empty homes back into use with the GMCA funding pot, having built an empty homes team that will help reduce waiting lists and reliance on temporary accommodation. The new strategy will further restate our ambition for housing growth for the borough, delivering new homes that meet local needs on land owned by the council. As part of this and my wider commitment to drive changes to how we operate as a council, we are collaborating far more with our partners, including registered providers, to deliver together our shared ambitions, something I alluded to at the previous full council meeting. As we further transform our council, how we work and the services we provide, this needs to be driven by effective use of our resources, ensuring that every pound of public money is being spent in the most efficient and impactful way possible. That is why we are bringing council facilities management back in-house from next May. Following a review of the service, the current contract will end with the in-house provision enabling a more agile service and efficient operation for a reducing council estate. Under the proposed model, cleaning, caretaking, maintenance and help desk services will be managed in-house. Project management functions will transfer to the council's facilities management and capital projects team. Around 140 staff currently employed by Robertsons will transfer to the council, and a new integrated workplace management system will be procured to streamline operations and maintain compliance. I'm incredibly proud of the progress we are making and the development being seen across the borough, and the investment and opportunities that are being created. Tameside has recently been designated as a heritage place by the National Lottery Heritage Fund. This recognition highlights our rich heritage and reflects our ambition to shape the borough's future in a way that celebrates and preserves our unique history while driving growth and prosperity. The National Lottery Heritage Fund plans to invest £200 million in up to 20 areas across the UK, with the aim of unlocking the potential of local heritage to connect communities, revitalise local economies and enable places to thrive. Additionally, we will see significant investment in Hattersley and Ashton over the next 10 years through millions invested through Pride in Place funding. A further £1.5 million has been awarded to the borough to deliver immediate improvements to places and spaces that matter to our communities through improved engagement mechanisms with our residents. Building on our Cabinet and Communities approach, we'll ensure investment decisions are made based on what we hear from our communities, delivering the things that matter to them. Under my leadership, Tameside Council is making clear commitments to support the development and a bright future of our young people. We are providing training and employment opportunities and delivering the skills needed for our future economy as part of the fantastic Train Tameside 500 initiative. The Council has committed to creating 50 new apprenticeships each year to support our residents into thriving careers. Working in partnership with our schools and colleges, providing opportunities for children in care and leaving care services, and through our employment and skills services, high-quality apprenticeship pathways are being created. The first full cohort will start in September 26, with apprentices receiving enhanced support, developing opportunities, peer-to-peer learning, and access to fantastic careers in our council, public services and wider opportunities in the future. My administration isn't just creating the jobs for our young people, we are creating the spaces needed for them to learn and thrive. It's great to see the £4.2 million investment transforming the former Wilko site opposite Tameside College. The site will provide space for an additional 350 learners ready to use in the next academic year. The space will create 11 classrooms, exam space, and more room for the college and their students. Ensuring we continue to provide space for our learners will support more of our young people to remain in education and training and move into employment. These developments will continue to support and drive the progress we are already making with the latest of our NEET young people. those not in education, employment or training, which shows a significant reduction down to 5.2%, with Tameside now being in the lowest quintile of all local authorities in England. And I'm sure Councillor Phelan may want to add to that point. As you have seen, we have been incredibly successful in bringing investment into our borough, and this remains a priority for me and my administration as we move forward. We are, however, in challenging financial times. We are making the absolute most of our resources and will continue to make the tough decisions required to ensure we balance our books and commit to the delivery of our essential services, supporting residents and communities. Like all local authorities, our financial position is difficult, but we are taking decisive action to balance our budget by the end of this year, and we'll be taking further measures with some tough decisions to build a stronger and more sustainable future for this council. We will continue to invest in the things that matter to our residents. A recent example of this comes from one of our Cabinet in the Community sessions, where we heard that residents in Hollingworth needed more community space, and so we are now offering up the empty Hollingworth Community Centre for local groups as a community asset transfer, ensuring environments are clean, our towns are safe, and people are able to live well across the borough. And I know personally Councillor Owen has approached me about that asset and what community groups may be interested, because she's aware of the vested interest that Hollingworth community have in ensuring there's community space. So thank you, Councillor Owen. So far this year, more than 189 arrests have been made due to our networks of over 300 CCTV cameras. This is now over 3 times as many arrests as the whole of last year. CCTV cameras are helping us crack down on crime and fly tipping, targeting problem spots and working in partnership with the police to reduce antisocial behaviour and other illegal activities. As we continue to listen to our residents, attract investment and continue the development of our 9 towns, I look forward to being able to provide further updates to Council on the impressive progress we've made. And before I finish with my updates, Chair, I just wanted to finish with a recent event that I was privileged to be at on Thursday. And unlike Thursday, hopefully I won't be overcome with the emotion of the event and be able to speak to it. But we had our first Drive Awards, and I know Councillor Roderick will be speaking about them as part of his portfolio update. So I won't talk too much about them other than to say we've got some real valuable, all of our workforce, real valuable workforce across our local authority who deliver the right things for our residents day in, day out. And it was fantastic to see us celebrate their hard work and dedication to the role. Over 500 nominations through from staff for each other, because they recognise the difficult climate that they've had to operate through with the cuts that they've endured time and time again, but yet they continue to do the right thing for the residents in Tameside. And we saw awards that aligned with our values. We saw awards across all service sectors, non-least our homelessness, rough sleeping workers, our civil servants who work outside of this building, actually. They all deliver vital roles within the community. So I just wanted to speak to that, to say it was humbling to be there, it was a privilege, and we will continue to celebrate the hard work that this council does. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Do you want to now move on to your portfolio address? Yeah.
So I have set out an update in the written report, and I don't intend to speak to it. I know that we are restricted for time and we're certainly staying within those time frames, but I just wanted to draw out some of the work that we're progressing as part of the Borough Plan, and also extend a thank you to community members and councillors within the room for being part of our engagement with regards to our Borough Plan. We have held Cabinet in the Community sessions across all 9 of our towns, which were really well attended, and people were able to have their say with regards to not just what the borough does delivering for Tameside, but where they see their town within that picture and where they want to see it for the future of themselves and their families. We're progressing with our engagement through online platforms. We've got working groups now, and we will be updating members further ahead of the implementation of this in July, but members will have further update with regards to the Borough Plan by March of the next year, Chair. So happy to take any questions, but I just wanted to say specifically around Cabinet in the Community, it was definitely evident to me that community cares and they want to have their voice heard. Obviously, we're considering neighbourhood forums and what will replace them. So it'd be interesting to see if members want to feed anything back with regards to what their view was on the Cabinet and Community sessions as we plan for future engagement. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. I'll now take questions provided they're on the portfolio report. Councillor Dickinson, do you wish to comment at this stage? I'll give you the first opportunity. No. Councillor Barry Holland, is this on the portfolio report?
Sorry, what did you say?
Is it on the report of the executive leader?
Of course it is, I thought stood up.
Okay, you may continue.
Congratulations. To the best of my knowledge, that's now that Ashton have now obtained £30 million in the last 12 years for the town centre. I just wonder, and I'm trying to formulate a question in my own mind, when is this, some of this money going to filter down into my town, Droylsden? We've got a master plan, and I'm sure Councillor Homer will get up in a bit and tell me about this master plan. But all it is a glossy document, and the one thing it doesn't do, it doesn't identify any finance to my town at all in Droylsden. If you want a haircut in Droylsden, well, get off the tram and come. There's 7 barbers within 150 yards. There's 20 hot food takeaways. There's no bank, there's no building society, and there isn't even an ATM that works. The town seats, all about the town hall in Ashton, the money that's spent for that. Well, the pièce de la résistance in the middle of Droylsden is the Concord Suite, a rotting ruin, and 75% of all the shops in the precinct are now boarded up, and it has the appearance of a war zone. I just wonder when it's going to trickle down to my part of Tameside.
Thank you, Councillor Holland. Executive Leader to respond to that question.
There we go. Thank you, Chair. I completely reflect and understand that people want to see their towns invested in, which is the reason why we've progressed further forward than previous administrations for town plans, regeneration plans, which obviously we now have the Droylsden Master Plan. That will help us secure funding, to be perfectly honest, Councillor Holland. And I'm sure that you wouldn't ask that other towns hand money back because we've not been able to secure funding for your town. We are positioning Droylsden, we are positioning every one of our towns to shine a light on the investment opportunities for this local authority, and we will continue that. I think it's great news what we've got coming forward for Droylsden at the moment with regards to bringing forward the marina site. There are other development sites that are bringing forward vital regeneration and homes, and with regards to the Concord Suite, we are currently working through future-proofing the Concord Suite at Droylsden and what that offer will be, but I'm sure you can appreciate and understand there are lots of partners involved in that conversation, and we still have to balance our budget and ensure that things are built into a capital programme and that we highlight and secure future investment, which is why we have a strategic growth board now, strategic growth unit that is building all of that formulaic things in to ensure that we strengthen each one of our 9 towns' regeneration offers. Thank you, Chair.
Councillor Jacqueline Owen.
Chair. I just wanted to say that I welcome the decision to bring the Hollingworth Community Centre back into use for them, the community, because it's been underused for some time. So it is very much appreciated. I've already had a couple of people contact me and I've arranged to meet with them in the new year for them to visit somewhere where I'm currently a trustee, to give them an idea of how those things can work. But we'll be coming to talk to you about money. Thank you.
Councillor Billington.
I just want to say, to correct something that Councillor Wills said. She said that she created the Droylsden Master Plan. Now, I previously shadowed the growth portfolio. That work was started under Councillor Cooney, and Councillor Cooney's been working on this, and you've inherited that. What the point that Councillor Holland was trying to get at is that there's been no money committed for Droylsden to enact that work. So the work was started by Councillor Cooney. The plan is there. You inherited it, but you've yet to put any money to Droylsden. Thank you.
Wish to respond.
Thank you, Chair. Firstly, to Councillor Owen's point with regards to Hollingworth Community Centre, absolutely we want to support residents, community members, voluntary sector members to deliver a sustainable community offer within Hollingworth. And I think for me, the Cabinet and community sessions were really eye-opening in terms of that community conversation and understanding the different unique landscapes that we've got across all 9 of our towns. So hopefully this is a reflection of us hearing those residents and what they've said with an action that can actually enhance their community in their town, and however we can support and facilitate that, we absolutely will. And thank you for your contributions. With regards to Councillor Billington's points...
1 minute, Councillor Wells.
Thank you, Chair. I won't be a minute. I can't really remember what I said, but if I said mine or ours or whatever, it is what it is. But your fundamental point is securing the finance, and that's where I am right now, ensuring that what master plans are brought forward is underpinned by a strategic growth board, which has been brought in by me, and that we have got the focus, priority and investment to make that a sustainable regeneration plan. Thank you.
Thank you. Time for one very quick question from Councillor Howarth.
Councillor Holland, actually.
Sorry. Market has been done 4 or 5 times while I've been on the council and had funding for it. Denton's have the big sports hall, which is beautiful. The town centre is very active compared with ours. Hattersley's had 10 million to be spent over, I think it's 5 years or 10 years. We get a lot of meetings in Droylsden about the town centre. We get a lot of talking about the town centre. No money, no action. And I'm sick and tired of leaving all the money that has been spent all over different parts, selected parts of Tameside. And I'm really angry, as a lot of people in Droylsden are. We're sick and tired of being the underdogs.
Thank you, Councillor Holland. We have now run out of time, so I'm now going to move on to the next report, which is from Councillor McLaren. Before you start your 3 minutes, I believe you want to say something first.
Yeah. I just want to, I'm lucky enough to be able to pay, not tribute, because Councillor Bowman's obviously here and all this stuff, but I've only been a councillor a short period of time. And in that time, I've got to know Councillor Bowman really well, and I'm delighted to welcome her back tonight. I really am delighted, because I've been speaking to her. We have a bit of a fortnightly conversation, Councillor Bowman and I, where we're sorting out casework for St Peter's, because she's been working really hard in the background, really, really keen to get back on the ground. And I heard reports yesterday you were walking around Ashton Market, and I was sent so many messages of people who were so pleased and delighted to see you, you know, back there and back doing what you do best. I mean, I'm biased, but in my experience, she's the most hard-working, passionate and passionate ward councillor in St Peter's ward. And that's reflective in the amount of messages I've received of, you know, gratitude for what you do. I mean, where others bring division, you bring cohesion. Where others, you know, are seeking to divide, you unite. And, you know, I think it's marvellous. It's really, really marvellous that you're back. And I'm so pleased. And I think it's just, I don't want to wang on too much, but the one final thing I'd say is that you really helped me when I first became a councillor, and I still need to be kept on the straight and narrow, but I'm so, so pleased that you're back and you're all that. So I just think we should all do what we should do best and welcome Councillor Bowman back.
Councillor McLaren,
Right.
3 minutes starts there.
Business, yeah. This is Tameside Homes for Tameside people. Following the hugely popular and successful implementation of our Article 4 direction, I'd now like to brief you on our empty homes policy, where I've set a target of 150 empty homes to be repurposed to provide accommodation for Tameside residents on our housing list. This policy is not only highly sustainable, but solves the blight on a street of an empty, dilapidated house that could and should be put to better use. Moreover, it's an incredibly fast way to alleviate the suffering of our most vulnerable families. The housing need assessment identified just under 1,000 private houses in every ward across Tameside that have been empty for over 6 months and could realistically be repurposed. Through GMCA, we have initially secured £350,000 of capital investment, which has already brought back 25 empty properties into use through our registered providers. This has supported the successful transfer of our Tameside residents out of temporary accommodation and into warm, safe, secure, but most importantly, nationally regulated and registered homes. This will reduce the financial burden on the council by projected savings of £1.5 million by not having to fund expensive emergency accommodation. Again, through GMCA, we've secured £3.5 million of brownfield homes funding that will deliver an additional 195 much-needed mixed tenure homes to Hyde, Ashton, Staley Bridge, to name but a few of our towns. But what does that mean in real practical terms? Because often I'm criticised for just spouting numbers out. I get that. Well, here's some numbers. 30 children this Christmas will not be spending it in temporary accommodation due to this policy, but they'll be in their own family homes. And finally, 4 very, very brief case studies of why this matters. A young teenage mum, 19, was fleeing domestic violence from Ashton with her 3-year-old child. She's now rehoused in this scheme in a 2-bed property in a safe area near to friends and family. A single mother was served a Section 21 no-fault eviction and she lost her privately rented house. She and her baby have now been rehoused in a 2-bedroom house in Odenshaw. Parents with 3 children under the age of 10 were illegally evicted from their house in Denton. They're now moving into a 3-bedroom property in Hyde. And finally, a teenage mum who had been excluded from her family home with her 2-year-old child has now been rehoused in a 2-bedroom property in Ashton, close to her support network. So I'm really proud of this, but I'm proud because of the officers' work and all the hard work that goes on.
Councillor McLaren, your 3 minutes are up.
Yeah, I just want to say to all residents who are helping,
Councillor McLaren.
Good luck in your new home.
Thank you. I've received 1 question on Councillor McLaren's portfolio. Could I ask Councillor Newton to ask that question, please?
Thank you, Chair. On the 1st of October, I wrote to executive members and strategic directors to make the case for the Pride in Place funding to be fairly distributed across the borough and for a fair and substantial amount of that to be allocated for Horton Green Village. In the letter, I argued that Horton Green Village was in need of some urgent attention to improve the sense of place and to help make local businesses more attractive. I argued that any investment would complement existing projects in neighbouring towns, such as what we've seen in Ashton and in Staley Bridge, and complement planned projects such as the Hyde Master Plan, the Droylsden Master Plan, and of course, Destination Denton. I made 3 specific questions, 3 specific requests at the bottom of that letter. Firstly, that Horton Green Village is allocated a fair and substantial portion of the fund for improvement and regeneration works. Secondly, that the relevant director and executive member meet with me and ward councillors to provide an update on the fund and explore options regarding Horton Green Village. And thirdly, that officers engage with both ward councillors and local residents to shape a deliverable and high impact project. Having chased several times, I did eventually receive a response 47 days later, which did not address any of the points I made about Horton Green Village, nor answer any of those questions. Could the relevant executive member, Councillor McLaren, please respond to those points? Thank you.
Councillor McLaren.
Yeah, thank you, Councillor Newton. And before I answer the question, I know the passion that Councillor Newton has for his area, for Horton Green and Denton, and I respect that. I feel exactly the same way about my ward in St Michael's in Ashton. So I absolutely respect and understand what you're saying. So in terms of following the announcement of the central government's 1.5 million Pride in Place Impact Fund, the council are awaiting a memorandum of understanding to be signed by MHCLG. We can't do anything until we get that. And as soon as we get that, you and all the other councillors will know that. And there's guidance which I'm happy to issue to all councillors after this meeting, where people can go and they can seek advice on how to do that. And I do know, because you've sent me a link, that you're taking additional training and taking a massive interest in this, which I completely respect. But also what it makes clear until it's signed is that the disbursement of funds can't be decided upon. But it will be decided upon with local stakeholder engagement. Now, we've kind of, in a sense, we've already started that with the Cabinet in the community meetings, which was held in Denton, which the leader alluded to, and we've taken away a lot of feedback from that, including, the one held at Denton Wellness Centre. I'm aware that the Denton members, including yourself, have already been directly involved in engagement sessions with the council on the levelling up fund priorities. So I'm more aware than I ever was of the issues that Denton needs to resolve, and we're really determined to do that. Discussions are currently taking place with the Leader of the Council to agree an approach to further engagement in collaboration with the Borough MPs to ensure that those areas in most need are targeted to spend in line with the PIP objectives. Once this MOU is signed, it's my pledge that all ward members, particularly yourself, will be included, and we will engage and we will come and speak to you on a ward-by-ward basis. And apologies about the 47 days. I understand that's frustrating, and we'll obviously be seeking to try to improve that turnaround time. Thank you.
Thank you. There are no more written questions for you, so I'm now going to open that down. The first one on my list here is Councillor Khan. Question on his submission and his report, please. Thank you.
Is that the submission as question on the submission?
Carry on.
Yeah. So I just want to ask a question regarding, could you please confirm the number of military British veterans in Tameside who are currently homeless or sleeping on the streets? And would you agree that our veterans have been let down by this Labour policy for far too long?
Councillor McLaren.
With your question that they've been let down, we take the situation with the veterans very, very seriously. There's no one more committed than I. I come from a military family. My great-grandfather, grandfather and father all served with distinction. So I take it very personally, the welfare of veterans, because my family's steeped in that heritage. I haven't got the exact number for you, but I will go away after this meeting and I will find that number out. But I think you can tell by the Strive Awards that were held last week, where one of the people, I won't mention his name because he's an officer, he was given an outstanding award for all the effort that he's made and his team for rough sleepers, including our military veterans throughout Tameside. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Billington.
Thank you. I do find it odd if a councillor submits a question in advance, you don't have an answer prepared for them with the numbers. But anyways, I do want to say, actually, thank you for some casework that I submitted to you earlier this week in regards to a rogue landlord. I do feel very strongly on this. I think there's one particular family in the borough which are known, the band, from actually operating estate agents, and they are causing blight in our town centres. You know, you can see the properties, the ones that they own in Stalebridge, they own various properties in Ashton, and I think it's about high time that there was more investigative work done for these people who I believe are operating fronts, even though they have been banned by statutory bodies in the past. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, out of time now, Councillor Karen. If you want to do a written response to Councillor Billington, that will be okay. I know somebody else indicated, but we have run out of time. I'm now going down the list, which is Councillor Sharif.
Thank you, Chair. As we enter into the thrust of the winter season, I'd just like to take this opportunity to thank our frontline staff in what's to come. I'd like to talk about the Tameside Food Partnership. This has received the Sustainable Food Places Bronze Award. This is, in fact, a national evidence-based recognition that a borough like Tameside takes up a joint, holistic approach to healthy and sustainable food. This partnership demonstrates the work it delivers as a local partnership, working with all, creating a culture that promotes health, stimulates local economy, and benefits communities and reduces the environmental impact. I would like to thank all partners across Tameside to improving the local food system. Quick examples of the work: we have trained over 400 professionals and volunteers as Healthy Start champions. We have embedded Refill Tameside. This is accessing free water to the public, and we have 30 of these across Tameside. The Tameside Hospital restaurant has replaced unhealthy food snacks at the till point baskets, replacing them with fruit and veg. changes to the hospital menus for patients using more sustainable ingredients. The Children's Nutritious Team has trained over 300 professionals and volunteers since 2024, providing nutrition courses. I'd like to move on to our excellent provision, the Manchester Bike Kitchen in Hyde. So we in Public Health fund the Manchester Bike Kitchen, who provide affordable access to bikes, tools and knowledge to increase cycling amongst our people who otherwise wouldn't. This has brought an additional £70,000 to benefit Tameside residents through schemes like disability projects, working with Groundwork, Jigsaw and Transport for Greater Manchester. We've also had the British cycling athletes volunteering for us at the shop. Thank you. Also, I'd really like to highlight the important work that we're doing with our White Ribbon work, our 16 days of action, tackling violence against our women and girls. This isn't taking anything away from our men. In fact, we have an award-winning Open Up campaign for our men in domestic violence situations. The campaign is about speak up, so we need our men to speak up against violence against our women and girls. We want our men to be our allies, and in Tameside we are engaging with our licensed premises, our sports clubs, our running clubs, and a range of community settings, including work with our schools. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Sharif. There are no written questions for you, so I'm going to take them from the floor. Councillor Chosky.
Thank you, Chair. Obviously, I'm rising in support of White Ribbon campaign, and I believe that young people can play a very important role in terms of, safeguarding our girls and women in the borough. I'd just like to understand what work that council is doing with our young people in order to tackle the violence against the women and girls in the borough, and if you can give us a little bit more detail about, in terms of your work with the school and the other venues to tackle this issue. Thank you.
Thank you. So we are doing a lot of work with our schools. In fact, we are doing a great production called Blindside, which I attended earlier this week at Copley in Staley Bridge. And it was absolutely brilliant to see our young people have access to such a great theatre production, which they go away and think about what it means, what sexist comments can mean, what catcalling can mean, what it is to empower our young girls and women. So we have these across many schools. I think around 1,200 children in Tameside have benefited this year alone, so we want to just send that message out. Also, according to the curriculum, we have a whole school approach where we do go into some of our schools and build it into the curriculum, but we need more of our schools to have this on their curriculum. So lots of work happening. Our young people are our future generation. We want our young people to become the ambassadors. We've got White Ribbon ambassadors in this room, but we want them to become ambassadors and stand with our women on this violence against our women and girls. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Billington.
Thank you, Chair. Yes, we're very aware of the White Ribbon campaign. We've seen the video Councillor McLaren put up on the council's Facebook page. It looked like a hostage video when he did.
Thanks for radio.
What about you? What would you say about mine then? Getting to the point, we talk about violence against women and girls. The Conservative group, myself and Councillor Chadwick, we put forward a motion for this week's meeting on child sexual exploitation against what's happened to women and girls in this borough. Unfortunately, it was rejected. But the point I want to make is, would you agree that it is appropriate that the Mayor, Councillor Lamb, provided an endorsement on a taxi appeal for someone who was accused of sexually harassing a female passenger? Thank you.
Point of order.
That isn't a question for you to answer that last part. Thank you. Do you wish to answer the first part?
So it's really important, like I say, the tremendous work we're doing across Tameside protecting our women and girls, and It's absolutely fundamental, the safety of our women and girls, and we ensure that this is one of our top priorities. We are doing great work with our partners, the MASH team, the Children's Services, in our safeguarding team is doing tremendous work, and we just need to keep going in that respect.
Thank you. Councillor Khan.
Thank you, Chair. So, Councillor Sharif, your portfolio is population health and well-being, and you often talk about healthy eating and living, which you have done, and living well. Do you agree that closing Ashton Baths and the Ashton Leisure Centre under Tameside Labour's leadership was a terrible policy decision for local people who want to live well? Can you simply answer yes or no?
You don't have to answer that question. It is not in your portfolio. Why not? It is not in the portfolio. You can ask it of others. Moving on, Councillor Chadwick. Councillor Chadwick. Councillor Chadwick.
Thank you, Chair. Does Councillor Sharif agree with me that councillors should call out any violence against women and girls and not endorse questionable people? Thank you.
Councillor Sharif.
Everyone should endorse this campaign, White Ribbon campaign, and call out against violence, against women and girls. So I do agree with that.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. I hope that includes all abuse, not just women and girls, but boys and men as well. Thank you. Councillor, that's the end. There's nobody else indicated to speak. Or Councillor Taylor.
I have two services that adult social services provide before you tonight. There is a report on them. Just going to bring up some small issues with it.
Councillor Taylor. No, it's not your report yet. There's a lot of questions. No. Not come to you just yet. I thought you was going to ask a question. That's it? Sorry. Councillor Cooney, I know your name came up and then it disappeared off my list. Councillor Cooney.
All it was actually, it's not directly to Councillor Cherry. I last night attended an Advent festival and Councillor Shibley was there as the mayor, and I think there was a school from Ardenshaw which was St Anne's, all full of young girls performing there, and I've got to say they were excellent, and I would hope that actually is sent back to them. And I think you would agree last night the performance at the Halley, I call it still the Halley anyway, but it was there, and the start of Advent, it was enlightening, to go there and to witness that and to celebrate it. But all the children of all communities were there, and it was a fantastic night. And I just think that it would go amiss. And I know you couldn't tonight, you would have that St Anne's been mentioned here from Ardenshaw for their performance at that place last night.
Thank you. Do you want to briefly answer that? You've got about 30 seconds. No? Okay. Moving on to Councillor Taylor. There is no... Oh, well, you do your speech now. Do your speech now. Yes, I know. I need to be briefer, I think.
Yeah, there's two departments that I'm putting before you tonight that we have in adult social care. I'll just bring out a few things within them. The carers, supporting carers, we have a carers centres which is in T1, down at the side of what most of us know as Windy Alley. And in there we have staff on there where carers can go for information. It may be welfare rights, it may be some wellbeing advisory stuff. They can call in for a tea or a coffee. There's some highly skilled staff in there who deal with carers on a weekly basis. It's open 5 days a week. You can all go if you want. I'd encourage you to go out and see them. And it was mentioned about the Strive Awards this week. The Carers Centre, they were actually the first up, if you remember. They won an award. Their colleagues within the council realised the great work that they do, and it was fantastic for them to get that award. The other department that we have tonight is adaptations, known as DFG to us, Disabled Facilities Grants. What I want to do with this is just give you an example. And it's an example of a couple, Ian and Janet from Ashton, and they have given me permission to use their name. They contacted the department. Social workers would go around and see them, and they would then take a team to the house. You'd have the social workers, you'd have the OTs, the occupational therapists, and you'd have professional builders. So they had an issue in terms of their bathroom. So our staff went in, did an assessment, and they provided them with what we call a wet floor. And the reason why I'm telling you this is this couple have invited us to the house to tell us what the difference that it's made to their life. And what they actually said was the best thing since sliced bread. Me and Jackie were there, me and Jackie got invited. The best thing since sliced bread. It's made a complete change to their life. And that's what we're here to do, all of us. We're here to make life easier for people. We're here to change people's lives for the better. And what we want to achieve, all of us, in social services, for all the people that we look after, we want them to live well at home while they can. When they can't, there are other services. But we need to make sure that people can live well at home. And this couple have told us the massive change that it's made to their life. It's completely transformed their life. It's a wet room. You know, we actually went up to see it. It's fantastic. But they're so proud of it, and it's made their life much easier. So to all our staff involved in that, thank you very much and well done.
Thank you, Councillor Taylor. There's no written submission, sir. Is there any questions or comments on Councillor Taylor's report? No. I'll now move on then to the next one. Councillor Smith. Over here.
Thank you, Chair. It's been an incredibly Children's Services, with October hosting our Practice Conference and Practice Week, where we put a spotlight on all the great services for our children and families, including the RAIN Collective, who work with young people who survive child sexual exploitation. The Collective is a young person-led organisation who have delivered training for all of our staff and will also be contributing to our ongoing learning about how to recognise, respond and support children at risk of exploitation. They consider themselves survivors, as indeed they are, and have a passion to raise awareness and help us to understand how CSE actually unfolds in a child's life. Their mission is to dismantle stereotypes and challenge systems. I have attended a previous session led by the Collective, and it was incredibly powerful. Two brave young women shared their stories. One of their stories shared that their exploitation journey started with a family member. I urge all members to take a look at their websites and learn more about how they contribute to raising awareness of this crucial issue. As lead member, I'm proud of the significant youth offer we have in Tameside, with universal provision across the borough. As a result of our focus of constantly improving, we applied for and have been successful in receiving funding from the Better Youth Spaces Fund. This capital grant can be used for equipment and will help us with our ambition to improve our existing youth facilities for our young people across the borough. This builds on the modernisation of our equipment, which now includes VR headsets for knife crime prevention. It reaches vulnerable young people who are digitally excluded. Myself and some members had the opportunity to meet some young people and try the headsets ourselves. It was a powerful experience, and to put yourself in a situation and understand the pressure of making choices. Our young people shared their thoughts and they told us it made it real, not just like watching a PowerPoint. And another said, I thought that only fools carried knives, but now I understand that manipulation. And I'd like to take the opportunity to thank our youth service who serve our children and young people. They're always looking for new and innovative ways to engage our youth and offer support and guidance. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Smith. There's no written submissions, questions, so therefore I'm going to open it up. Councillor Corbett.
Thank you, Chair. The Council is investing in survivor-led training through the RAIN Collective, which is a significant step and one that deserves full transparency. I've taken a look at their website and agree they're raising awareness of this crucial issue, child sexual exploitation. A past RAIN campaign slogan states, "Child sexual abuse is a crime. Talking about it is not." If the Council are using these services, then members should have a clear understanding of the local situation. Firstly, what are the current levels of CSE risk in Tameside? How many children are considered at risk, and has this changed over the past year? Secondly, can the exec member share the latest data on CSE referrals so we know the scale of the issue? Thirdly, what recent reviews have been done about exploitation and what actions have been taken as a result? These are serious safeguarding issues, and if we are investing in these services, then full council needs a clear picture of the risks and what is being done to keep children safe. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Councillor Smith.
Thank you, Councillor Colburn. It is important that we are all aware of CSE, and that's why I mentioned that one of the people from the RAIN Collective talked about exploitation that had started within her own family. And I think for many people, when we think about exploitation, we think about big groups of grooming gangs, but it can be just an individual. Baroness Casey's report made it clear that her inquiry was unable to provide an assessment of the scale of the group-based child sexual exploitation, but she recommended a number of measures to ensure that we had better data going forward. In the last quarter, in September 2025, there was 27 children and young people open to our Tameside's complex safeguarding team. But it's important to remember that the greater portion of that is around child criminal exploitation, which I feel as a council is something we also need to be focusing on. Not decrying the importance of CSE in any way, but we need to understand CCE as well. So, like the rest of GM, most of our instances are around criminal exploitation, but I can say that of those 27, we are in line with statistics across GM. So we're not higher, we're not lower, we're pretty much the same as everybody else. In 2025, the Mayor, Andy Burnham, commissioned Ofsted to produce the Children's Services response to CSE and CCE. The inspection found that even in local authorities not yet judged as good, the multi-agency safeguarding teams provide an effective response to children who are exploited. Across GM, this work is prioritised by partnerships. It isn't just us as a council, it's a partnership approach, mainly including health and, of course, as you would expect, the police. They meet frequently, sometimes daily, to assess and refine their analysis of risks to our most vulnerable children. There are immediate and frequent visits from workers who are highly skilled in building trusting relationships with children. They reduce risks by giving children support and advice on how to reduce the risk going forward. The inclusion of psychologists, parenting specialists, youth justice, police officers and social workers in the complex safeguarding team ensure a greater understanding of meeting children's needs. The Tameside Complex Safeguarding Team is built on a GM-wide best practice model. Our parenting work is a good example of listening to parents who have helped us to understand and adapt our support. And I've been really lucky while I've been doing this role. I've met some amazing parents whose children have been exploited or have been at risk of exploitation. And their stories are so powerful. And I think it's important to remember when we think about exploitation in any way of any of our children are part of a family, and exploitation affects them as well. It's a much bigger picture. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Owen.
I just wanted to add something really to what Councillor Smith just said, that as chair of the Children's Scrutiny Panel, that it is on the agenda for our January meeting, that we're going to be looking at the complex safeguarding report, or we've invited the police to attend that, to come along and speak to us about the report, and members of the opposition are on that panel, so welcome any conversation you want to have. Councillor Chadwick and myself have already met to talk about it, but, you know, just to make sure and to reassure everybody that it's very much on our agenda and we are looking at it. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Hopwood.
Thank you, Chair. As regards the taking care of, calling out basically the abuse to young women and children, I find it a bit hypocritical that we're discussing that, but there's been not a big focus on the CSE and the historical CSE of children within the borough. I know that you're saying there now that it's a wider problem than that, but there is a focus on this that seems to be being left behind, and I'm frightened and I'm concerned that that's having a blind eye turned to it, and I really think it needs to be looked into. Can I just ask if you could tell me how many cases of CSE there is in Tameside, average in a week, please?
Thank you. Councillor Smith to respond.
Yeah, we can't break it down to weekly numbers. As I said, we're looking at probably around 27 children at the moment that are being looked after by our safeguarding team, but the majority of those are around criminal exploitation. We are a learning organisation. The only way we're going to move forward is to learn from the past, and part of that is looking back at what's happened. But we have been commended for the work that we are doing at the moment. We have had a peer review when we've had some really, really positive comments about what we're doing well in Tameside. All authorities need to continue and push and work better. It doesn't matter if we're inadequate, requires improvement, good or even outstanding. Even outstanding authorities are still looking for ways of moving forward. Part of moving forward is also looking behind us, learning from past mistakes and learning what we can do better, but most importantly, listening to the voices of those people who've experienced exploitation. We have to walk a mile in their shoes to understand what it can be like. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Smith. We've now run out of time, so I'm now moving on to the next one, which is Councillor Boyle. Your 3 minutes start now.
Thank you, Chair. I wanted to take this opportunity to shine a light on the vital work carried out by our food team, environmental health officers. A team whose efforts often take place behind the scenes, but whose impact is felt across every part of our community. They protect public health, support local businesses, and maintain the high standards our residents and we rightly expect. They do all this with only 5.5 food hygiene officers, 2.5 food standards officers, 3 apprentices and 1 graduate EHO. One of their most visible responsibilities is food hygiene and food standards. Since January, our officers have carried out 789 food hygiene inspections across the borough, ensuring that every cafe, takeaway, restaurant or food producer operates safely and hygienically. These inspections result in food hygiene ratings and give residents the confidence and help businesses maintain high standards. But inspections are only part of the story. Much of their workload involves reactive visits, responding to urgent issues such as poor hygiene, pest infestations, unsafe food handling or complaints from the general public. When necessary, they take enforcement action. Since January, they have issued over 440 warning letters, 18 hygiene improvement notices, and they have agreed 19 voluntary closures, where risk was so significant that businesses could not safely continue operating. Importantly, we have not had to prosecute any business this year, which is a testament to the cooperative approach taken by our officers and the commitment of local businesses. The team also plays a crucial role in infectious disease management, working closely with the UK Health Security Agency and public health colleagues. This year, they were instrumental in managing a national listeria outbreak, tracing sources, inspecting businesses, and implementing control measures to protect residents. Alongside this, 377 new food businesses have registered with us since January.
1 minute,
Each one
Councillor.
receives advice and support to help them understand food safety legislation and to achieve high standards from the very beginning. Environmental health is not just about compliance, it's about public confidence, well-being and safety. Their work underpins our wider public health goals, from healthier workplaces to tackling health inequalities. We can all take confidence knowing that our communities, our businesses and our residents are safer, healthier and better supported thanks to the daily efforts of this outstanding team.
Thank you, Councillor Boyle. I have received 2 questions on Councillor Boyle's portfolio from Councillor Axford and Councillor Quinn. Can I now ask Councillor Axford to ask the first question?
Thank you. Just wanted to ask what steps the council is taking to improve transparency and food hygiene standards across the borough.
Thank you. Councillor Boyle to respond.
Thank you, Councillor Axford. Public confidence is essential because food hygiene is just not about the technical processes, it's about the trust between residents, the local authority and local businesses. Things that we can do, we enhance visibility, so we have a robust risk-based inspection model which prioritises inspections based on risk. We allocate resources to premises posing a higher risk while taking advisory roles to less complicated premises. Food hygiene ratings are available online, but we want to make them even more accessible. We're exploring options for a borough-wide campaign, encouraging businesses to display their ratings prominently and help residents understand what those ratings mean. Secondly, we're trying to improve communications. When issues arise, whether it's a closure or a hygiene improvement notice or a good rating, risk rating for the premises, we provide timely updates through the council website, through social media. Transparency reassures the public that action is being taken and our high standards are being upheld. Through the GM compliance team, we support businesses to achieve and maintain compliance, providing early interventions. We promote the value of getting a good rating to encourage people to drive to compliance. Thirdly, we're focusing on education. Many complaints stem from misunderstanding rather than malpractice. By running community workshops, business forums, we can demystify food safety requirements and empower both consumers and operators to make informed choices. We regularly review our service performance and make improvements where required. We also consider emerging risks and our statutory obligations. Finally, we embed accountability. Regular performance reporting to our scrutiny committees will ensure that elected members have an oversight of our inspection outcomes, our enforcement trends and emerging risks. This openness builds trust and demonstrates that food hygiene isn't hidden behind closed doors. It's a shared responsibility and we take it very seriously.
Thank you. Councillor Quinn.
Thank you, Chair. How will the council ensure that food hygiene services remain effective in the face of increasing demand and financial pressures?
Councillor Boyle to respond.
Thank you, Councillor Quinn. Resilience in food hygiene services is absolutely critical, and we're approaching this challenge through a combination of strategic planning and innovation. First, we prioritise workforce sustainability. Our environmental health officers are very skilled professionals, and we're investing in recruitment and retention strategies to maintain our capacity. This includes exploring apprenticeship pathways and professional development opportunities to build a pipeline of talent for the future within environmental health. Secondly, we're embracing the digital transformation that the Council is undergoing. Modern inspection software and mobile reporting tools will allow officers to work more efficiently, reducing administrative burdens and enabling more time for frontline engagement. This isn't just about speed, It's about smarter data use, so we can identify trends early and target resources where they're most needed. Thirdly, we are looking at income generation. While enforcement will always remain impartial, there is scope for offering advisory services, training packages to businesses on a cost recovery basis. This helps strengthen compliance while easing pressures on our core budgets. Finally, we're committed to partnership working by collaborating with public health, the Food Standards Agency and other local authorities, local business networks. We can share intelligence, coordinate responses and publish up-to-date scores published business encourages to display. Resilience isn't just about doing more with less, it's about doing things differently and ensuring that food hygiene remains a cornerstone of public health in our borough. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. I've got 4 speakers here. I've got to try and be fair to the political balance. We haven't got enough time for them all. Councillor Chadwick.
Chair, does Councillor Boyle, because obviously you mentioned trust in your speech quite a bit, do you have any figures of these establishments that are used as money laundering facilities or are used for child sexual exploitation or grooming purposes? Thank you.
Councillor Boyle.
I haven't got those figures to hand, but I can get them for you and give it to you in writing. But what I would say is, we do carry out collaborative working. We recently worked with the Trading Standards and Greater Manchester Police, the HMRC and the UK Border Force and the Greater Manchester Fire and Rescue Services. We had 3 days of action during October as part of Operation Match and Eyes. Operation Match and Eyes is a national initiative launched by the National Crime Agency with funding from the Home Office to deal with issues including organised immigration crime, money laundering, as you're suggesting, drug supply, and of illegal tobacco products, etc. Vulnerable people are often exploited through these types of criminality, and the proceeds of crime are used to fund the activities. Investigations are ongoing. Any enforcement action we found from those inspections will be taken, and we'll continue working with our partners to make sure that we're protecting our public.
Thank you, Councillor Boyle. We will not have time to ask any further questions, so I'm now going to move on to the next executive member, Councillor Roderick.
Given that the Cabinet minutes are heavy on finance, I thought I'd take this opportunity to cover some wider areas of my brief. As part of the creation of a supportive and encouraging culture at the Council, we held our first Employee Strive Awards at the end of November, as the leader has already mentioned. This event will become an annual opportunity to recognise the dedication and achievements of the Council staff across Tameside. Our staff are the foundation of everything that we achieve as a Council. When our workforce feels valued and supported, we see higher productivity, lower turnover and better outcomes for our residents. That connection between staff and the service that we deliver is why initiatives like the Strive Awards really matter. Every day, individuals and teams of Council staff go above and beyond delivering for our community, often without public recognition, and these awards have recognised that work. Special mention, as the leader has already said, goes to our rough sleep coordinator, who has changed residents' lives after helping more than 100 people out of rough sleeping and into settled accommodation in 1 year. The awards are a chance to appreciate the commitment to delivery for residents that drives not only that member of staff, but all of our staff, which is at the heart of everything we must do as a council as we improve. Thank you to everyone who helped make these awards a success, and also to the sponsors for their generous support. November has also given us the opportunity to honour the sacrifices of our service personnel during Remembrance. Across the borough, parades, wreath-laying ceremonies and services at memorials brought communities together to pay tribute to those who have made the ultimate sacrifice in the defence of our country. This year, the Government has marked Remembrance by launching the Veteran Strategy, pledging over £50 million through Operation Valour to improve access to housing, health and employment services via veterans hubs across the UK. And this goes to Councillor Khan's question to Councillor McLaren, that work is currently ongoing at the GM level to put forward a bid to Operation Valour, which will ensure that provision also comes into Tameside. The Armed Forces Covenant has now also been fully enshrined in law and has expanded across most of our council services. Here in Tameside, we are working to ensure that the needs of the Armed Forces community are considered in everything we do through our policy processes. And we are embedding fairness and priority support for those who have served and those who are currently serving. Both of these aspects, Council, speak to this administration's determination to put people first and to work together with our partners and with residents to provide excellent services and to ensure that we deliver the services that our residents deserve. Thank you.
Thank you. I have received one written question for you. Can I ask Councillor Khan to raise that question?
Thank you, Chair. Can the Labour-run council explain why endangered vulnerable long-tailed monkeys, as you can see there, are being transported into Manchester Airport for testing, abuse and death, and what link or responsibility Labour-run Tameside Council has as a shareholder of Manchester Airport? To put this into context, in 2005 so far, just over 1,300 endangered long-tailed monkeys from countries like Vietnam have been imported from Manchester Airport to the UK contract testing laboratories. This practice is under your administration, which is alarming and must stop. And only today, 120 monkeys arrived at Manchester Airport. What will you do about this? Thank you, Chair.
Councillor Roderick to respond.
Thank you, Councillor Khan. Having read the reporting around this story, I absolutely share your concern. This is very, very. This is something we do not want to be happening. From a council point of view, we are shareholders in the airport, as you say. That doesn't give us any ability to influence their day-to-day running of what's going on, of operations at the airport. But what we can do and what we will be doing is writing to the airport to say we are concerned about this practice and we want to know what they're doing about it. And we will share that letter once it has gone. Thank you.
Thank you very, very much. I'm now going to open this up now. Councillor Billington.
Right. That was a bit strange. So what I would say is, on your report, Hugh, or Councillor Roderick, is you talk about the Strive Awards, but it's our residents who are suffering from strife. And what's happening is, we've seen it now, that this council is going back to form what we had in the Labour government years, giving itself a pat on the back all the time and spending taxpayers' money on these fancy award ceremonies. You can shake your head disagreeing. They're spending money on these awards. And at the same time, council tax is going up next year because Rachel Reeves has pledged the money that you said we were going to get if there was going to be a Labour government. So how much are these awards costing, and should taxpayers of Tameside be paying for them? Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Roderick.
Thank you, Chair. Taxpayers are not paying for these awards, they were sponsored. We have had more money from this Labour government. That's why we were able to make investments in this current year's budget, and why we'll be able to continue doing so in the next budget. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions? Anybody? You've already asked your question, Councillor Khan. Thank you very much. And it was responded to. Yeah. Anyone else? Councillor Khan? You can ask it now, nobody else wants to. We've got time.
In your Armed Forces update, you said the Council honoured the sacrifices of service personnel on Remembrance Day. South Asian and black soldiers also served Britain with enormous sacrifice. Nearly 4 million South Asians from the Indian, Pakistani, Muslim and also the Sikh community gave their lives, which is around 160,000 who had died, alongside thousands of black servicemen and women. As these communities belong here too, will this Labour-run council make every effort to recognise their contribution in our remembrance events? Simply answer yes or no. Thank you, Chair.
Councillor Roderick.
The council honours all people who've made sacrifices for us as a country.
Thank you. There is no other questions for you, Councillor Roderick. Thank you. I'll now move on to Councillor Feely. Your 3 minutes will start now.
Thank you, Chair. Back in October at our flagship heritage venue, the Portland Basin Museum, we were absolutely delighted to welcome the Chief Executive of National Lottery Heritage Fund, Ailish McGuinness, who came along to announce that Tameside will be part of the prestigious Heritage Place Partnership. And this is a really great opportunity for us. And in fact, we are the only one in the north of England. And there are 20 across the UK, so we are really, really excited about this opportunity. So, why Tameside? Tameside's the home of 300 listed buildings and scheduled ancient monuments. Tameside is the home of the Manchester Regiment. Tameside is the home of where the Whit Friday Brass Band contest started. Oldham might not agree with that, but we stand by that. So over the next 10 years, we're going to be unlocking the potential of looking at applying for funds, and the Heritage Lottery have allocated 200 million across the UK. So we're working together now with organisations, and we're going to be putting forward plans. This is not a short-term plan, it's a 10-year plan. And we will come back and we will give you more information. We're going to be working closely with the Heritage Forum members, and thank you to them for all their support. So, you heard the leader mention previously, and the Mayor, about the Northern Lights Winter Parade, which took place in Stalybridge on the 15th of November, the start of the winter festival season. Over 7,000 people came to Stalybridge. And we want to thank Global Grooves, Cabasa Carnival Arts and No Eye Theatre, our local talent who work with us to bring this amazing event to life. And so as the parade weaved its way through the streets, it brought laughter, life and lots of joy to the streets of Stalybridge. Our businesses were bowled over with all the support, so thank you to everyone who was involved. I know I've mentioned previously about SEND resource bases. We now have 9 units with 133 places, and I had the pleasure of visiting Silver Springs last week with Deborah Mason, the head, and what a joy it was to see the brilliant facilities and how they're really enjoying all the great tailored learning environment, the strong parental partnerships that are being built, and the focus on emotional well-being. And there'll be more news to come in the future. Thank you.
Thank you. There is no written questions for you, Councillor Feely. I'm going to open that up. Councillor Chadwick.
Thank you. I'd just like to ask, as you mentioned, the Winter Parade. Can I confirm if the Winter Parade will continue to tour the borough once a year in each town so that all businesses can benefit from it? Thank you.
Councillor Feely to respond.
Waiting for, sorry. Thank you, Councillor Chadwick. So we've committed to the Winter Parade coming to Ashton next year, so we already have put that in place. What we do as part of our events forum team is we will look at that every 2 years and we will agree those plans. It's our intention to continue this event because we can see the benefit that it brings, and I think, sorry, I see. So that's good. Yeah. So that will be up for discussion. So the programme for next year is agreed. And so what I've introduced is that we will review it. So we're not saying this is how it's going to be and delivered, that we give everybody a chance to be able to contribute to that discussion. And I know that from yourselves in Hyde, we could see the benefit that it brought to Hyde. And I know I walked through the shopping centre and I've never seen it so busy, and in the evening you couldn't get a parking space, so we can really see the benefit it brings. It brings a lot of opportunity into towns for the for the local businesses, and I think it's just great to see people enjoying themselves, and it's a family event. Families can come along, they can experience it, and culture is, I think, the key to being able to do that, and so we're very, very committed to continuing that. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Feely. I don't see any others indicating, so therefore I'm going to move on to the next one. Councillor Homer, your 3 minutes starts now.
I'm pleased to share two important updates that reflect our ongoing commitment to community safety and youth engagement across Tameside. I'm delighted to announce the launch of the new mobile youth provision commissioned by our Community Safety Partnership and delivered by Foundation 92. This shows a true partnership approach with Greater Manchester Police, Tameside Youth Services and other local organisations working together with a view to remedying issues of antisocial behaviour. This initiative introduces a mobile safety van that will travel across Tameside, offering young people a safe space to connect with and support teams. The van will feature engaging activities such as gaming consoles, arts, crafts and more, all designed to encourage a positive interaction. The programme is flexible and responsive, targeting areas identified through police data and community insights. Over the next 12 months, it will deliver high-quality, place-based youth work aimed at tackling antisocial behaviour in a sustainable and impactful way. Our aim is to provide young people with safe, engaging environments, to help them build positive relationships and access meaningful activities, to connect them with a wider youth service across the borough, to ensure that all interventions are tailored to the needs of our communities. As I've said before, it's vital that we engage with our younger residents earlier so we can educate, raise awareness before negative behaviours begin to develop, not only for their own benefit but also to create a positive impact on the wider community. Secondly, on CCTV success. I'm also proud to report the continued success of our CCTV operations, which are playing a vital role in keeping Tameside safe. So far this year, over 189 arrests have been made thanks to intelligence from our CCTV team, more than 3 times the total from last year. Our network of over 300 cameras, along with 3 mobile units, is actively monitoring town centres, parks, public spaces and council buildings. These cameras have helped to identify suspects in serious crimes, including the recent arson attack in Victoria Park, Denton, vulnerable individuals, got the wrong teeth in, sorry, where there were welfare concerns. The mobile CCTV units are also proving highly effective in tackling fly tipping, helping us identify offenders in 6 cases already. They're not just reactive, they're a deterrent, and we're using their mobility to stay one step ahead. As I said previously, much of the success of is down to effective partnership working and vigilance of our CCTV team. They are highly skilled and have almost a 6th sense when spotting something is amiss. As my colleague, Councillor Boyle, Environmental Services and Neighbours, has rightly pointed out, we issued more fixed penalty notices for fly tipping than anywhere else.
Thank you, Councillor Homer. You've had your 3 minutes. Thank you. There are no written questions for you, so I'm now going to open it up to questions on your written submission. Councillor Owen.
Thank you, Chair. I welcome the information you've just shared about the Foundation 92 and look forward to working with them. So what I wanted to know was, are they going to work in partnership with non-council services as well as you know, our own youth service? And more importantly, how do we book it?
Councillor Homer to respond.
Yeah, I can confirm if you wanted to book the service, if you can contact our community safety partners, they should be able to put you in touch. If you don't know who to get hold of, please come to me. I'm willing to pass on any information. Thanks.
Thank you, Councillor Newton.
Thank you, Chair. It was great to hear about the success of the CCTV cameras, those mobile units you've got. just a shameless request from me, really, to see whether we could get some of those around Horton Green playing fields in Denton South. I know the Green Space team work exceptionally hard in keeping the area clean and litter-free and graffiti-free, but it is a real hotspot for criminality as well. So if we could make a request, that'd be fantastic.
Councillor to respond.
Thanks for that, George. Yeah, if you just write to me, mate, and we'll see what we can sort out for you. Thank you.
Okay, there's no other questions for you, Councillor. Thank you very much. I'll now move on to the next agenda item, which is item 6, meeting of the Executive Cabinet for the meetings that are held on the 29th of October and the 26th of November. The leader to move. Are those seconded? Thank you. Councillor Dickinson.
Thank you, Chairman. Can I just rescind Councillor Dan Costello's apologies because he's managed to make it?
Okay.
I gave them at the beginning of the meeting.
Yeah.
Thank you. Item 6, Executive Minutes, 29th of October, Minute 61, Ashton Town Hall update. I refer to the Cabinet Agenda, 29th of October, in the report on Ashton Town Hall update. 3.1 of the report states that a sum of £91,000 is to be approved to support a feasibility study for the next stages of the Town Hall works. While we all support the improvements to Ashton Town Hall, which this council has left closed for 10 years now, I want to ask the following question. In December 2019, Executive Cabinet approved £98,000 going to the LEP for an envelope and feasibility scheme. Then at the Strategic Planning and Capital Monitoring Panel on the 6th of July 2020, the report stated, a report from the LEP on the feasibility scheme was expected in late September 2020. No report arrived in late September, and as late as July 2021, still no report. I asked on numerous occasions when we would see the report and was informed it would go to Cabinet, and then it fell off the radar. I was still asking questions but never got a satisfactory answer. My question now is, was the study ever done, as indicated and agreed in the minutes? How much did it cost? If the study was done and the council have a feasibility study, why is this council spending another £91,000 to repeat the process? And if it wasn't done, was the LEP still paid the £98,000 for the work? I've got comments on the next exec. Do you want me to do it now or later?
Do you wish to take that question now? Councillor McLaren will answer that and I'll bring you back in.
Okay.
Just wait for the microphone to come off. I can't speak to previous administrations, but I will take those questions away about the 2019 and what that money was spent on, the value for money. I can't unfortunately speak to that. What I can speak to is the current work with a professional background as well. It's really, really important with this feasibility study that we understand commercially what we can do with this because we want to keep the momentum going from the Ashton Market Square refurb and development. Now, we've been inspired by, we went on a visit, the leader and I, to Rochdale Town Hall. Now, whilst we're not going to copy, but it's quite inspirational what's gone on there. And I think what's really important with this feasibility study is we can understand lessons learned from Rochdale and apply them to Ashton and apply them as to all the various uses that we could put this to, whether it be a council chamber, whether it be a cafe, whether it be a restaurant, whether it be event space. So I think in answer to that question, I think it's fundamental that we understand clearly what we can conceivably do to make sure that we get value for money.
Thank you. Councillor Dickinson.
Executive minutes for the 26th of November, minute 73, facilities management restructure. Before I ask that, I would like to say I don't think it's good practice to get minutes of the Cabinet meeting 24 hours before the Council meeting, especially when so much is said about openness and transparency. It certainly isn't good planning. So, minute 73, facilities management restructure. Well, I'd be very remiss if I didn't say this. I can't tell you how pleased I am to see this minute and the decisions taken. I have been asking for a review of facilities management since Carillion went bankrupt in 2018. And as all councillors know, I have mentioned it regularly in numerous meetings, this one included, and council meetings. So I'm delighted that this decision has been taken and that it is in the Cabinet minutes. It is my view, a definite step forward for this council and will, I am sure, be a benefit to all communities that use our buildings, and I'm also sure it will produce good savings. Well done.
Thank you. Councillor Cooney.
Yeah, Chair, on minute 72, regarding council-owned land and affordable housing, well, I don't think anyone would disagree the need for increased affordable housing. But as I said when I was in this area myself, my biggest concern is not actually affordable housing, we're doing that, it's actually a move away from social housing. The requirement that I know that the people in Tameside, certainly in Droylsden and in Ashton, affordable housing is not affordable. And we're going to build these on council land, so I do think it's an opportunity to actually force the ones that are on council land to be social housing only. And I do think we've got to move towards that. Affordable is not affordable. The local housing allowance doesn't cover affordable. Housing associations, when we give it to them, still have to make a return, so they can't do anything other either to sell or affordable, and a very minuscule amount of social housing. So what I would like to see, and I certainly would like to see, 2 trees now, which is available. No one wants to talk about 2 trees, brought back in to use as an affordable housing plot, which it should be. Excuse me, I didn't interrupt the person that actually is vile at times. Sorry. And that was an oxymoron. He likes the people of Denton. You want to read his WhatsApps? Well, I welcome. No one would deny the need for affordable housing. I accept that. I'm not critical of that. But I would really like, and I've said it myself, I've said it before and I've said it now, it's a Labour government with a massive...
Continue, please.
Recording or something.
Councillor Cooney.
Simply, please. It's a Labour government with a massive majority. We've already caused problems, the Labour government, with our own supporters. And I do think we should be challenging the MPs to actually bring forward the funding for social housing. I remember building 5,000 to 6,000 houses in and around Manchester, social housing and everywhere. What that also did, it brought in large amounts of apprenticeships that were supervised by local authorities, not by the private sector, because the private sector don't want apprentices. What they want them is when they're out, when they're skilled. And I do think that that has a big plus, will help deliver. You're never going to deliver Andy Burnham's plan. I think it's a great plan. I just don't think it's achievable, purely because there isn't the construction workers available to do it now, when you're also going to be building 70,000 in Liverpool and everywhere else. But I don't think we should have that aspiration. I'm disappointed though, council land should be actually what we should be putting on there is social housing, and we should bring back into now 2 trees for social landlord.
Any other questions or comments on the executive minutes before I ask them to be summed up?
Go away, George. I don't ever speak to you. Go away. Go away. You're a vile person. Go away.
Excuse me.
Sorry, Chair. He's interrupting me.
Well, your mic's on.
Sorry.
So I have asked at the beginning that we don't have any interruptions and people don't walk around. I know you're pointing at Councillor Newton, but you also left the room while somebody was speaking and interrupted them, Councillor Cooney. Okay, so I'm now moving on. Councillor Billington.
If you want, I can yield my time to Councillor Cooney to continue what he was saying. You talk about interruptions. You're the biggest person who interrupts councillors in this chamber, yes. Which is completely anti-democratic.
As Chair, I'm quite entitled to Councillor Billington, as you know. So if you've got a question on those executive minutes, please put it.
I do have a question, but I think sometimes you need to review what you do yourself and how you treat other councillors in this chamber. My question is, well, I don't really have a question, is to basically follow on from Councillor Dickinson saying about facilities management. Yes, it is something that this Conservative group has been championing for years, is to remove Carillion. We have pointed this out for years and years and years on end. Councillor Bell, I think, is it Councillor Bell or is it Dan? It's Dan. You've got the same hair. Callum. So basically, we have been saying this for years, and we're very glad, obviously, it's happening, but it's taken this time. We was given the opportunity of a clean break, as Councillor Dickinson said, with the bankruptcy of Carillion, which again, we warned about putting your eggs into one basket. And basically, with that, you just ignored it. Councillor Warrington was the one who made that decision. You was on the cabinet as part of that decision-making body, Councillor Wills. So I'm glad that you are listening to the Conservative Party on our policies again, which we've been saying, you know, like things on free parking, you followed up on the Article 4 direction, again, which is what we've been saying across the borough. Like I say, I do hope that you will follow our lead in actually implementing a council tax freeze for our residents come February. Somehow, given the way that Councillor Roderick's run the finances down, I don't think that will actually happen. But I have more to say on that in a later update. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm now going to ask the Executive Leader to, Councillor Hannigan.
Apologies, Chair. Just a quick question just in relation to in minute number 57. I note positively the reference to the use of artificial intelligence in joining an internal audit partnership. Now, AI, as I'm sure we know, is a fantastic tool, but I'm just curious as to know, has the Council reviewing its governance arrangements for the responsible use of AI? Are those arrangements in place, or are they currently being developed to future-proof audit arrangements? Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Hannigan. And nobody else? Right, I'm definitely moving on now. It's no good you indicating it, and the leader will bring the appropriate person in.
Firstly, just wanted to thank Councillor Dickinson for congratulating the decisions that this administration are making with regards to facilities management. Unlike what Councillor Billington is trying to gesture around their success, I definitely think it's myself and my cabinet and this Labour Council that have put those decisions forward and will get ratified this evening. It's absolutely the right thing to do for the local authority. I find it really interesting that Councillor Billington once championed the previous exec, depending on which meeting he's in. The previous chief exec was the greatest thing since sliced bread, but apparently opposed all of your brilliant, magnificent decisions. I'm not sure where they came forward, but certainly under this leadership, again, to last meeting's point, we don't just have ambition, we have action and delivery, and the residents of Tameside will continue to benefit from action and delivery from this administration. I'm going to invite Councillor McLaren to speak specifically to Councillor Cooney's points with regard to social housing. I completely agree that social housing is a priority for this Labour Council, and again, Councillor Dickinson has brought this up, certainly in my administration, as a focus for this authority. And I did say at the last meeting, Councillor Dickinson, that there'd be a paper coming forward to show what we're doing as a council with regards to our social providers and creating more opportunity for good quality housing for the families that we have here in Tameside. I'll hand over to Councillor McLaren and then on to Councillor Roderick to answer those specific questions. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Councillor McLaren.
Yeah, great. Thank you, Councillor Cooney. Ever since I've been a councillor, and Councillor Cooney will vouch for this, when he was leader, I used to peck away at his head and everyone else's head about council houses, social housing and housing all the time. So my track record on it is pretty consistent. I completely agree with Councillor Cooney. We haven't built enough social housing. for lots and lots of reasons over the last 14 or 15 years, which is fairly obvious. But we're now in a position where we can serve our residents, the whole of our residents, with social housing. To talk to his point about the registered providers, I have a declaration of interest, so I'm not going to speak about any specific registered provider. I'm going to have to talk at a higher strategic level. So in respect of these sites that are become available, the government have given us affordable housing funds and budgets, and we're committed as a minimum on these sites to provide 60% social rent housing. And I say social rent as opposed to affordable housing, because I agree completely with Councillor Cooney. Affordable housing is not affordable if you're thinking the average wage in Tameside is, let's call it £30,000 a year now. You ain't buying these affordable houses, and I'm absolutely committed to that. If I can get more than 60%, I will absolutely try my level best. In terms of Two Trees, I take his point, and I'm going to take that point away. I'm not going to commit at this stage to 60% of Two Trees for social rent housing, because I don't want to just say things to be popular at this meeting. But I will take that point away. And in terms of apprenticeships, absolutely. I mean, I think the track record now with this Tameside 500 apprenticeships, as part of my portfolio of growth, I represent the colleges at GMCA, and that's Ashton Sixth Form College, Tameside College, Clarendon College, and I know there are other colleges in the borough, but they're the three that spring to mind. And I'm absolutely passionate and committed to grow our people. And one fact to take away from this particular answer is the fastest growing college in Greater Manchester at the moment is Tameside College. And I've got the pleasure of living 5 minutes walk around the corner. And I walk down to Tameside 1 almost every day now, doing my current role. And I call it the kind of highway of hope, because as I'm walking down that side of the road, there's literally hundreds and hundreds and thousands of students walking this way to populate the colleges that are here. So that's our future, that's our growth. So this Tameside 500 answers part of the question that Councillor Cooney raised. We do have to skill our young people up, and part of that is the construction industry. So I fully endorse his comments and his commitment, and I'm going to try my level best, not just to match it, but to hopefully surpass it.
Councillor Roderick to answer the AI question.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Councillor Halligan, for that question. It is a very good question. Internally, absolutely, AI has different uses in different settings, and so policy development and kind of the government structures around that will be based on that specific setting, looking at across the terms of data protection and all the laws relevant there. With our partners, absolutely, as part of the process of identifying the partner for this internal audit partner sharing process, that will be one of the things we're looking at as well, is that governance will be in place for their use of AI as well.
Thank you. Are you all happy then to receive those 2 sets of minutes from the Exec Cabinet? Please show. Thank you. That's carried. We'll now go on to agenda item 7, which is democratic process working group. I shall move the minutes from the 20th of November. Are those seconded? Any questions, comments on them? No? Are you all happy to accept them? Thank you. We are now going to change the agenda around slightly and take agenda item 9, the financial regulations update first, before we do agenda item 8, amendments to Constitution, because it does follow on from there. Councillor Roderick.
Thank you, Chair. These updated financial regulations and procedures represent the most comprehensive review of these procedures since 2021. They modernise our governance framework, they raise the thresholds for key decisions, for unbudgeted spend, clarify delegations and streamline processes for environment, procurement and asset management. These changes make decision-making more agile while maintaining a robust oversight and transparency. Benchmarking against Greater Manchester authorities ensures best practice and positions us as a forward-thinking council committed to efficiency and accountability. This demonstrates this administration's delivery of modern governance with cutting bureaucracy and enabling faster action on priorities like regeneration and housing without compromising financial control. It signals confidence in our leadership, in our officers, and a proactive approach towards risk management. Thank you. I move that, sorry, Chair.
Thank you. Is that seconded?
Yeah, I second that, Chair.
Thank you. Councillor Dickinson.
Thanks, Chairman. With regards to the amendments to financial regulations and procedures, I agree that these need a constant update to account for changing circumstances and inflationary increases in goods and service. It is surprising that at the last review in 2021, the first item in the chart, 2.4a, the 30,000 on expenditure not within budget presented to Council is now lifted to 250,000. Inflationary increases over that period would set the figure at 40,000 rather than 250,000. Either it was way out of date in 2021, or we are now reducing controls at a time when expenditure should be more controlled. The requirement also ensured that when expenditure exceeded the 30,000 point, that controls were in place to ensure tendering took place. That control is now being increased to 250,000. It would have been useful if the benchmarking information referred to at 3.4 of the report had been included so we could understand how our procedures compared to others. More concerning is removing the requirement for key decisions of disposable asset, buildings or land under 250,000. It is quite often that the smaller value assets are those that cause concern to local residents and therefore local councillors. It is essential that should officers dealing with assets up to 30,000 and the exec member dealing with assets from 30,000 to 250,000, that a consultation with local councillors is still carried out. Without a key decision, there needs to be a process of consultation prior to disposal. Thank you, Chairman.
Councillor Billington.
Thank you, Chair. I concur what Councillor Dickinson has said. And what I will say is, I do think that what you are doing is absolutely outrageous given the financial circumstances that this borough is in. Councillor Dickinson has just said that your response already has said that you're doing this in line with inflation. Well, going from 30,000 to 250,000, that's not an inflationary increase. That's an increase of 733%. Now, inflation hasn't gone up that much since 2001. But what is very serious about this is, you see one of the examples here, debt write-offs requiring executive cabinet. That's gone up from 30,000 to 50,000. Now, Councillor Roderick has already this year written off £5 million worth of debt owed to this council. What he is doing is he's moving the goalpost to make it his job easier, but make it a lot harder for you, the residents, when he starts putting up council tax. Now that is disgusting, and he knows exactly what he's doing by that. And it's again with the land sales as well, not having the democratic accountability of that, as Councillor Dickinson has pointed out. Contract awards as well, you know, and disposal of buildings. Again, increasing the goalposts on giving officers more power and taking it away from the accountability of the councillors that you, the people, elected. And we already have the £16 million overspend, which has been reported as well. It is financially irresponsible of Councillor Roderick to be doing this, to be shifting these goalposts, to be increasing the limits when the council is such in a bad financial state. And I think really this needs to be reversed, if anything, because what is coming down the line in terms of tax rises, it would not surprise me. You know, I have been told, as Shadow for Finance, that the reserves will run out in 2 years' time. If that happens, we are in extreme financial territory for this council. We've seen in Trafford where they've had to increase council tax by 7.5%. Angela Rayner, when she was Cabinet Secretary for Local Government, she gave councils permission without consultation from DCLG to increase council tax up to 10%. Now, you look at council tax in this borough and what we're paying already and what the wages that people earn, council tax is one of their biggest bills. And it's now becoming, for the average household, way more than 12% of their individual earnings, what they pay out in council tax. That's before they start paying the gas, the electric, the food shopping, because if they don't pay the council tax, they end up in prison. But I just find it really, really irresponsible of this council to be doing this. Like I say, shifting the goalposts. And it's just lazy governance from yourself, Councillor Roderick. There's no transparency. And you know, Councillor Dickinson has raised this in the past. It falls in line with you scrapping the capital monitoring panel. And again, you talk about openness and transparency, but you're not. And all you're doing is you're leading us into a financial oblivion which our residents are going to have to pay. And people just cannot afford it. We are absolutely stretched. You know, you can sit there and laugh and smirk, but for the residents in Stalybridge South, pardon?
Excuse me.
I have read the paper. I have read the paper. And for the residents of Stalybridge South and across Tameside, they do not want to be paying more council tax. And what you're doing is completely lazy. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Billington. Councillor Khan.
Thank you, Chair. I happen to agree with Councillor Billington, and I have done my homework, and I did read the papers yesterday evening. I'm completely agree with what Councillor Billington is saying, especially when it comes to constituency, and the average salary is about £27,000, and Ashton St Peter's ward being the most poorest of Tameside. A lot of my constituents are struggling with their day-to-day rent, let alone paying the council tax. So the question to the council is, this Labour Council has just approved new financial regulations because the old system wasn't good enough. So we now have a £6.5 million budget gap, which was reported in the media recently, and people in Tameside are already struggling with low wages, rising bills and food bank. Why have we got so many food banks in Tameside? Has this council mismanaged this money again? And I'm seriously worried that we will expect Tameside residents to pay for this by increasing council tax yet again and making life even harder for all our residents, not just in St Peter's, who will use council tax. Will this council use council tax reserves to give people some relief from the council tax in 2026, or will they find alternative solutions? Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments before I ask Councillor Roderick to respond? No? It's quite interesting that we've actually had a debate on council tax, but we've not even made that decision yet. We haven't made that decision yet, and I'm looking forward to seeing some alternative budgets which will actually make that point and have a 0, 1 or even a decrease. Councillor Roderick.
Thank you, Chair. I think it's obviously necessary to clarify exactly what this paper is about. This paper is not changing the number of disposals that we do. It's not changing the amount of debt write-off we do. It's changing the person who is making a decision. There are policies around disposal that involve consultation with members. That is still a policy that is in place when we do disposal. All that is changing is who is making a decision at given thresholds. So this is not removing any accountability or any transparency. If anything, it's helping with that because it's clarifying rules that were previously unclear between different documents. It's making those rules clearer. It's making them more scrutinizable. And all of the changes that are happening are going to be reported on. So the reporting of all these decisions, whether they're made by officers, whether they're made by me, whether they're made by Cabinet, will be reported, will be open to scrutiny at scrutiny, will be open to scrutiny here on a full council.
Councillor Billington, will you stop interrupting, please? Will
Well,
you stop interrupting?
moving on to capital monitoring, we took that decision to take that meeting and to take that reporting and move it to a scrutiny panel that you sit on. Surely you want to be monitoring a report that you are responsible for as the shadow of this, of my brief. What is it that you have against doing your job? So this is very much a case of modernising our council, making it agile, taking things off Cabinet minutes, like the lease on a grazing field, which is a £7,000 lease, which does not need to come to Cabinet. That's something that our officers, who are talented people, that we pay well enough to be able to make those decisions. You know, we don't go through a hiring process to pick the best people to then say, well, actually, you can't do anything. Everything has to come through the Cabinet. And that slows us down as a council. As a council, we want to be moving faster. We want to be improving faster. And these regulations, these changes will let us do that because it'll allow us, as a political leadership, to deliver much more in terms of transformation, which will then reduce our overspends. It will help us move towards a much more stable financial position so that we can do things that are much more advantageous for our residents. And talking on Councillor Khan's point, as a council, we absolutely recognise that our residents are struggling. That's why we have so much money invested into projects that will support our residents. That's why we offer council tax reductions to the poorest in our communities. That's why we have winter funding. That's why we've invested warm hubs, in our warm hubs. Thank you, Leader. So we are investing in supporting our worse off, and that does mean that we are doing what we can. But you have to understand, as a council, as our residents need to understand that council tax, business tax, our fees, they do not cover the cost of running this council. We need government funding to close that gap. If we do not take council tax, we have to then come up with the way to fill that extra gap. And that gap grows every year if we do not. So, yes, we would absolutely love to be in a position where we can give everything to everyone and not have to take any money, but we don't. We live in a world where we as a council have to be financially responsible so that we can continue to provide the services that our residents need. I think that pretty much covers everything. Thank you.
Thank you. Do you wish to add to that, Leader, to anything before I put it to the vote? No? Okay, it's been moved and seconded. All those that accept those recommendations in the report, please show. Those against? The motion's carried. We're now moving back to agenda item 8, which follows this one, amendments to the Constitution. Councillor Wills.
Chair, yeah, I'm asking today that we approve the recommendations as set out in the report.
Thank you. Is that seconded?
Yeah, second that, Chair.
Thank you. Any questions or comments on them? No? All happy to receive them then? All show. Thank you. Any against? No? That is carried. I'm now going to move on to agenda item 10, appointment of a section 151 officer. Can I ask the Leader to move?
Thank you. I would like to ask if we can move the recommendations set out in the report that we agree the appointment of Zoe Evans as our statutory section 151 officer.
Is that seconded?
Yeah, I'll second that, Chair.
Any questions, comments on that? No? All in favour of that, please show. Thank you. That's carried. Agenda item 11, which is notice of motion. I have not received any notice of motion that were received in time according to our constitution. Agenda item 12, appointments to various bodies. No. Agenda item 12, appointments to various bodies. Councillor Wills.
Thank you, Chair. I think we've had a very varied and robust conversation through Councillor Roderick with regards to our financial circumstances. Today, I'm asking that we move the changes as set out as the part of the recommendations within the report. And I've taken the decision not to fill these roles with a mind to the financial burdens that we all carry. Thank you, Chair.
Councillor Wells, you have to move it what it says, please.
So if I can ask Council to move the recommendation, which is, hold on.
Set out there.
To move that Councillor Anne Holland be removed as Deputy Chair of West Neighbourhood Forum and Councillor Barry Holland be removed as Deputy Chair of Health and Adult Social Care Scrutiny Panel. Thank you, Chair.
Is that seconded? Is that, just 1 second. Can I have it seconded, then I'll come to you, Councillor Dickinson. No, nobody else has had them. It's been tabled just now. This is a standing item, which we normally have. Okay, and they're normally moved on the floor. The only exception to that is at the AGM of the council when we have the full report of it. Okay. All those in favour then? Sorry. What is that point of order? No, I want to know what the number is, please. Not what it's about. Sorry. No, I want the standing order number. Well, you've just said standing order. Come on, let's hear it. Yeah, and what is it? You have to name it, not what it is. No, that's not a point of order. Thank you. That is not a point of order. It's not a point of order. I'm now moving on. All those in favour, please show. Thank you. Against? Okay, that is carried. I'm now moving on to agenda item 13, urgent items. There is none. Can I thank you all for your attendance?